What's up, guys? Welcome back to Shock Value. This is our deep dive series where we're going into a bit more detail on all the shocks that we tested for our mid-budget blind test series, which I hope you've watched. If you haven't, you should definitely click and watch that first, and then come back and see what we think about these Falcons. I'm Braden from Overland Outfitters. This is Ian from Wheel Every Weekend, and we're gonna just get into these. What did you think of the Falcons?
I think the Falcons were the biggest standout of the whole series.
I agree,
Yeah,
100%.
I was like really impressed with them. Out of the box, I wanted to like them. The build quality is just phenomenal. They have like, everything's so easy on it. They only have 3 adjustments on it, and it's so simple. There's like, number 3 is a super tow haul. Number 2 is when you're loaded down. Number 1 is sport. We tested that, and they're quite good.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
I found, like, we've tested the Dobinsons MRRs in this series and proved 2 times that they have too much adjustment that it actually allows you to really mess up the ride of your shocks.
Yeah.
It sucks, whereas these were really dialed. They're super easy to adjust. It just was so simple, they're almost idiot-proof.
Yeah.
They even came with a sticker that you can stick to your frame or put in your glove box that shows you exactly when you should adjust this. Like, I don't know who else is doing that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And there's like this bent plate that indexes into the top cap, and that's for different wheel back spacing so that your reservoir won't hit. The bushings are these crazy like dual bellow bushings with like conical washers, which I've never seen before. The bodies are all aluminum, which is super sick for you.
Yep.
These are probably the lightest shocks.
Oh, big time.
Oh yeah, they're insanely light. And I know you really like this greasable bushing.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a bushing, it's a uniball, I guess, in there.
So, yeah, according to their website, this is a uniball. I didn't actually pop the seal out to check, but I'm pretty sure this is a uniball with a spring-sealed rubber seal to keep junk out. But, you know, always stuff works its way in. It's just how life goes. So it has a grease zerk on it, and you can pump the grease in and just shoot all that goo out and keep them running for a long time. I'm really stoked on it. They also are the only shock setup that came as a kit that included bump stops. And that was one of the biggest game changers we found.
It was insane. And those foam, like GM style, what are they, like microcellular or something?
Yeah.
It's whatever, it's what a lot of the companies use because they just flat out work. They have the best deflection of any bumps on the market. They're super cheap. Like, this company's probably into those rear bumps for like 20, 30 bucks, and they transform the rear end of the truck.
Yeah.
The front, they help a ton as well. And they also have a machine sway bar spacer, which fixes the angle of the sway bar for lifted vehicles, which is really cool. It's like a complete package, well thought out, super sick.
Something else that's really cool about these is we talked about the Foxes and how they're an internal bypass shock, which is expensive to make. They're really good, but they're just in a complicated setup.
And they're necking down the main piston too.
Whereas these ones, they're essentially doing zoned damping, but in the cheapest way possible, because they have a bump on the shaft for bump stop, so it gives it a progressive bump zone. And then on extension, they basically just have a spring. So as it fully extends, it compresses that spring at the end, and it makes the top out great.
Yeah.
So it's like a super cheap, almost bypass. And it worked.
Yeah.
It really, really worked.
Yeah, it was like 80-90% of the performance at 10% of the cost, which I'm always about.
Yeah.
Always. So yeah, these are really outstanding. I've honestly not dealt with them a lot before. A lot of people have asked me to rebuild them, and I just usually say like, oh no, because I don't want to deal with trying to figure out seals and stuff. But these are going on my website. I know these are going on your website, and we're gonna be pumped to carry these. They also have laser engraving exactly what they are on them. It'll say Tacoma front or Tacoma rear, and then they have 3 snap ring settings that are also laser engraved with exactly which position to put them in.
Yeah.
So they're just so simple. They have the right amount of adjustment. They honestly just cook. We managed to finally gap the horrible like double step that we were doing at the end of every test. With these shocks, we were able to finally gap it, and it was insane.
We were cooking into that jump at 70 kilometers an hour or more which was very scary, but with these shocks, it was composed. Like, I never felt like I was gonna veer off the road and crash, and we finally gapped it, dirt to dirt. It was an awesome feeling.
It was sick.
And yeah, it was crazy. It's pretty funny because when we had first opened the box on these shocks, we were like, oh, these come with bump stops. We're gonna know instantly which ones they are. And we did. That's how much of a difference the bump stops makes. Build quality is awesome. It does use your stock OEM coil. So if you're running a suspension setup that is not stock, you might not have a stock coil to put on here, so you have to find one of those. But dude, it is so worth it because these are one of the best shocks that we've tested, I think.
Yeah, I would completely agree. And like, I'm probably gonna get a set for the Tundra just to test them out. And unfortunately, I don't really have any stock Tundra coil springs, so I'll have to buy some, but you know, small price to pay. I just think it's so interesting to try out all this new technology. And I got a little bit of like background information on these, which kind of confirmed my suspicions about them, that like the attention to detail is there. And these guys are professional suspension engineers. They've been doing it for a while and they're good at their job.
Yeah, really liked them. I think the only thing that I would like to see different is that it did include its own coil. I think that would be an awesome upgrade, especially for those of you that have already gotten rid of your stock coils. That is the one thing I'd say that is kind of missing to make this a complete package, but it still really works as it is. We really enjoyed running them, and they do actually include a shock guard as well, which we don't have mounted right now, but it's just all around well designed.
So with 5 being our baseline test that we did, what would you rate these guys out of 10?
I gave these a 9.5 out of 10, which is my highest score out of the whole series. I didn't give them a 10 just because I'd really love to see them come with a coil. But as far as performance went, they were really mind-blowing. And, you know, they eked out the TRDs just by having a much better low-speed valving. But yeah, other than that, a 9.5, I think these shocks are phenomenal, honestly. What about you?
I gave them a 9, and that might be kind of biased because I was looking at getting these for the Tundra because I want to put them on, I want to try them out for a couple months and see how they really are after a while. And I can only get them with the stock coil spring, and I've not had a stock coil spring for the Tundra for 5 years now. So I'm gonna have to go and buy a set. And then in the Tundra variant, you have to reuse your stem mount bushings, which isn't the case on the Tacoma one. And so that's why I dropped them down to a 9, but like purely just as the shock, dude, they're so good.
Yeah, they're stellar.
They're insane.
I would love to compare these against some of the higher end ones that we've tested before because I honestly think that they might beat a few of them.
Yeah, I think they will beat most of the 2.5s that we tested, which is crazy because this kit, even with this crazy tow haul adjuster and everything, is like $1,700.
Yeah.
And it comes with the bumps, the sway bar thingy.
Yeah.
Just the shock guard adjusters, all that cool stuff, the greasable bushing, and we tested some shocks that were $3,000, $4,000, and I have a feeling that these would smoke them.
Oh yeah, big time. Actually, I think we have the data to prove it. We really enjoyed them, and we hope that you enjoy them too. Thanks so much for watching. It's been a pleasure. If you haven't seen Shock Value, please check that out because it's gonna blow your mind seeing us try to do these things without even knowing what shocks we're running, and it's a journey. But yeah, if you want to buy shocks for your truck, Wheel Every Weekend sells shocks. We, Overland Outfitters, sell shocks. We'd love to sell you some shocks if that's something you're looking for. You know, it costs a lot to do these tests, and it's just something that supports our channel and allows us to do more stuff like this, which we really want to do because we want to help you guys buy the best shocks for your money. And other than that, we thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.